So let's go over how I use Kajabi to send out emails to all of my patients announcing like services that I'm offering that are new in the clinic. So here in Kajabi, you have email campaigns, and email campaigns can be one of three things. One is a broadcast, which is what I'm going to send out and show you today, which is kind of like a one-time email that announces the services that I'm offering now, like new services. Then there's a sequence, and the sequence is, for instance, they sign up on my website, which is hosted by Kajabi, and then they get a series of emails kind of each day over 3 days explaining the different benefits of the direct primary care practice. So even if they ultimately, like maybe they're on the edge a little bit and they're not sure about signing up, the sequence will explain or answer some of the most common questions they have. And then events. So events are like, hey, the clinic is opening, or hey, we're doing a thing with the community. Like we're doing maybe a walk on Saturday for about a mile, and come join us, right? An event is tied into like other things like a timer that you can show that when it's going to happen and things like this. So if we go into the broadcast email that I want to do today, it's going to be about colon cancer screening services. So I'll go into that right now. And here you can see an internal title. This means, what do I call it when I'm kind of searching for it? So I'm going to call it Clinic Services, Colon Cancer Screening Services. And in the subject of the email, I'm going to put my name first so they're familiar with it. Like they understand, oh, this is from Dr. Tom. I should probably open it, right? And so there's going to be colon cancer screening services. That's what we're talking about. And the preview is an alternative to colonoscopies, because I'm talking about offering immunochemical fecal occult blood testing. And the email content, this allows you to see what it's going to be like, and you can edit this content. So if I go into it and edit it, you'll see here that it's partitioned out. So at the top corresponding here is the logo, then the headline, then the image, then the text, and a button. So this is my template. And I got this from actually Peter Attia when I signed up for his newsletter that he sends out. So at the top, I just have simple Clear Health News, and then what is the main subject we're talking about, a nice little picture, and then that's it. And then I describe in a short paragraph what's going on. The reason why I do this is because, one, you can't list out a whole long thing in the email. Patient or a person doesn't usually read long format content in their email. You want it kind of short and to the point. And then I have a button that says read more. This read more button takes them over to the blog post or newsletter. It's a blog post where it explains more about what immunochemical fecal occult blood testing is, how it's compared to a colonoscopy, and things like that. And this is all kind of set up in Kajabi. This is the basic form that gets set up immediately. And so if I wanted to edit, let's say this, I click on it, and you can see over here, I can edit it really easily. And I like this because every time I would try and edit on some other website like Wix or something, editing in here, it just seems to kind of be a little, I don't know, screwy or something. But it was a while back, could have changed. But I like this simple, easy format where I can edit over here. I have all the controls. So I can, highlight things. I can do this. I can highlight that and then bold it. So click read more to find out, and then see here it changes on the corresponding display page. So here I can view it in the web browser. I can click that. I can preview it, and if I click preview, it will open it up in its own little web browser and show me here what it looks like. So let's go back to that page. So here, if I click save, right, and then I go back, here I see the different portions. Like let's say I wanted to put the image at the bottom. I would just click and drag, boop, and then it's down at the bottom now. So it's underneath all of this. But I like to put it at the top like this. So I just rearranged it. The button here, you can put your own link. So I'm going to copy my blog post link into there. So if I go over to my blog post here, let's see, where's the link? Okay. Yeah, so this is the link right here. I'm going to copy and paste that, go back, and then I'm going to paste it there, and then I'm going to click save. And that will update it and allow them to actually go to that web page. You can change the background to any color you want to match your own style. You can change the border thickness, the radius. Like this is how round it looks, so I can make it more round, change like that, and I can make it less round. I usually like it at about 10 or so. If you want it on the left, you can change it to the left or centered. So all of these things you can change. You can even change the entire background, but I just recommend that you keep it white just for formatting reasons. Sometimes it doesn't show up the same. If you change the color, it may not show up visible or readable in the email itself. I'm going to go back. And so if I go to, let me stay on page, I'm going to save it. And it'll even remind you, hey, you got to save it. So if I go back to this page here, you see that as soon as I figure out I like this content, I can actually save it as a template and then come back to it. So I could save it as email broadcast template. And I say create, and it's there. So then I can pick that out whenever I come back into this. I can send myself a test email, then preview there, and then it will send it there, and I can see what it actually looks like in my own email, which is super fantastic. Now I can say save and continue once I fill all this stuff out, and then I can schedule it. So I can schedule it for later or sending it right now. And this is kind of cool because let's say it's Sunday and I'm working on it and I don't want to get a flood of emails. I can schedule it for later and click here, and I could schedule it for this Monday when I actually like to respond to marketing things. So that button there that you saw at the bottom, this read more button, will actually take them over to the blog post that I created. This is important because one, it brings them to a format where they can read about stuff in a longer format. And then two, it brings them to my website. So if they're not a patient yet, they can actually be like, oh, this is kind of cool. And now I actually like this type of service, and they can click the join now button. It also allows Google to see that I've created something different and that people are coming to see it. So Google knows how many people are hitting this new web page, and it goes, oh, they created something new this month, which is good, which boosts me up in the rankings. And when people type family medicine doctor, I'm more likely to come up because I'm still active. Like it understands like, oh yeah, we're still active on this. So in the blog page over here where I'm at, so this is under website, blog, you can attach multiple things. You can attach video, audio, and you can create the title here. And then you can do a content which is longer than the normal email that you send out. Because here they're used to reading it, right? In their brain, they're like, oh, when I go to a newsletter site or a blog site, I'm used to reading it in a longer format. So if they're not ready to read it, then they don't have to go. You can also organize a blog post into different ones. This is really good if people are like wanting to look for a common subject like a colonoscopy or colon cancer, and you've done several different parts on it. You can attach audio from, let's say, your podcast, and you do a little blurb from it where you talk with an expert, and then they can listen to that. And then you go, if you want to listen to more, check out this podcast, right? Check out my podcast. And then down here, this is important because this is the page that Google's going to look for. If it has colon cancer screening services, it's going to be on there like that. So this URL slug is what Google looks at to kind of figure out what's on the web page. And you can see here, the entire part is down here, and that gives you a good preview. Then there's the page title. So this is what appears up in the browser itself. And that's another good thing to bring Google here. and then page description, right? Learn about an alternative, or you can learn about the differences between a colonoscopy and an immunochemical fecal whole blood test for people at low risk of colon cancer. You put Claros Medical, a very low cost of $5, right? And then the image that you got. Images you can get from stock.adobe.com, or you can get from mine is storyblocks.com. So I get that from there. And then alternate image test, you can put doctor pointing to inside of colon. So, and then you can publish it too. So you could publish it, set a specific publish date of the same date. And then that way, when people go over there, it will publish at the same time and everything will update all at the same time. So this is how I kind of draw people back to my website and in turn boost my SEO for Google to see. And if you see over my blog over here, this is the blog. So I've announced new weight management services. There's different categories over here. And at the top of the Clear Health newsletter, so here's my website, join now, all that good stuff. At the top, you have an advertisement for the clinic itself, because this is accessible to the public. So they can come over here and they can see all these different types of announcements, and lets them get a feel of what kind of doctor I am, as well as what kind of services I offer. And that's just a simple little overview of how I get people back to my webpage that either are kind of curious or are part of my patient panel that I feel these services could really help out. So if you like checking out this type of content, you can always find more at dreamdpc.com. And that's where my podcast is on starting up your own direct primary care practice, as well as a completely free webinar on the 30-minute webinar on the most common questions, including the financials of DPC. So that's all I got for you today. And if you really like this video, I'd really appreciate if you liked it and subscribe, because I'm going to keep putting out more if there's definitely more interest.